Kind of wish we had like I could press a button and we'd have like a theme song of sorts. Do 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 do. And we all like slowly turn around like we're in news desk chairs. Hello and welcome. Do 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 do.
I mean, we could just start talking. How is everybody?
How is everybody?
How's the family, Leonard?
Live. Yeah, how's
good, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah,
How old
everybody's
is your-
good. We're
How-
daughter is she's
Hello.
2 in a couple months now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's
I have
crazy.
no idea what that's like.
Oh, you get there and then there's a point of no return, right? So,
Yeah.
but I had it while we were working on Ghost, and then I think I remember like one day coming in and like looking like a zombie and apologizing. And our director was like, "You just," and he's like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't slept. I'm sorry."
Oh dang.
Yeah, and we were like, use it. You know.
Dig deep.
Oh, yeah. He's hungry
He's hungry. He's hungry.
because
He's hungry.
he just had a daughter.
Yeah, and it's busy feeding the daughter. Yeah.
Hello,
Oh,
everybody.
Gosh, hello, everyone. People are
coming
everyone's
by.
showing up. Looks like it's coming. Hi, y'all. Hello. Look who we have.
Yeah.
Look who it is.
We
It's
have a special guest.
Leonard. Special
This is a joint
guest.
stream.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome everyone.
Yes, welcome to the DandE Saga special joint stream with Daisuke and Earl, and today with Leonard Wu, our Ryuzo himself,
Thank
my
you.
arch
Thank
nemesis,
you for having me, guys.
Your former best friend.
former best friend. Oh, man.
Oh man. So, just for everyone that's joining right now, letting you all know that we're gonna start off with a little section where we're gonna watch Leonard's favorite scene. So we're gonna have a little moment. I'm gonna switch over, make all this technological stuff work real quick. Where is it? There we go. And we begin. This scene, yes, it's this scene.
You have an impressive home.
There we go.
Won't you welcome me inside? Your people are tired, hungry, cold. Open the gate and save them!
Is the audio?
You promised food for my men. Earn it.
Let them in!
No. Open the gate! Open the gate! Open the gate! Open the gate!
Chills. Chills.
There it is.
Amazing. Awesome. So, everyone, round of
Our
applause
sound
for
okay?
Leonard.
I don't know. I had.
Round of applause.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, maybe if we get a little bit more. Everyone wants to hear more of your
Go ahead.
voice.
That's. I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
So you haven't played the game yet, right? You usually play the 20-minute, but have you seen all the scenes already? Have you watched the
I
scenes?
watched. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I haven't played a video game since like N64's GoldenEye. So it's been a minute. Yeah. So I watched all the cinematics, and I watched a lot of. I watch you guys play, obviously, a lot on Twitch. And then my friend, he brought out his Xbox and was like, "You gotta play." All right. And I played the first 20 minutes. I was like, "Cool. This is awesome. This is beautiful" on my big screen TV, and I haven't touched it since.
Well, at least
Wait, so he played it on his Xbox? Is that what he said?
Well, oh no, I played it on my big
How did
screen, right? Big TV.
Oh,
big
okay.
screen TV. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I haven't gotten around to revisiting the game since.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
mean,
that's okay.
It's understandable. You have a wee
Yeah,
one.
you have.
You have a wife. You have a baby. You've got things. You've got
Yeah.
real life. Not
Yeah.
like us. Not like us. Unmarried.
We have an inside. We have an inside joke that we're this is the DandE Saga and we're the DandE daddies, but we're not daddies
not
at all. But you are
Different type of daddy.
actual. Yeah.
literal
You're-
father. Right here.
You're a little
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we go on with questions?
Yeah.
How did the journey of Ghost of Tsushima begin? Like, what's your earliest memory?
I actually I went in for Patrick's part originally.
We all went in for
the
Patrick's
breakdown.
part.
Yeah, and I was like, having been on Marco Polo, I was like, I know exactly what they want, and I am exactly not it. Right? Like they want, somebody who is tall and just holds a lot of weight and gravity, and I was like, you look at Marco Polo. I went in, and Ivy, the casting director, she was like, we want this guy named Amra, this Mongolian who played the brother of Kublai, who's played by Benny Wong, and he's just this guy who is like just very powerful and like just talks like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and literally that's his voice. And and I was like, yeah, I know what you guys want. So I did it, and I was like, I'm not right for this. So didn't hear anything for half a year, and then they called me in for this kind of Ronin samurai guy, and that was December of 2000. God, is it 17 now? Maybe 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just on a whim rewatched Seven Samurai, and so
As you do.
I was like, yeah, as you do. Why not revisit the classics? So. I got the sides, and I was like, I don't know what they want, but I'm gonna do Toshiro Mifune.
Nice.
So I went in there doing Mifune, and that was what they wanted. And the character evolved as you guys know, as time went on. I wouldn't say he's exactly like a complete correlation to between Ryuzo and Mifune as time went on, but there was a lot kind of started there. I think at some point, before all this. The crap hit the fan. I think Ryuzo probably at one point was more like a Mifune character, kind of this happy-go-lucky, kind of rambunctious, crazy kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why Jin and Ryuzo were best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What was you want to talk about that was your favorite scene that we just saw?
Yes.
What do you like about that scene? I mean, there's a lot to love.
There's a lot to love, but is there anything in particular that? Magic.
No. Thank you, Earl. I think one of the things, like, as you guys know, it's like working with Sucker Punch, working with Billy and Nate and Ian and the entire team when they would fly down here. It's so collaborative, and he wasn't a stock villain. In our conversations as we chatted, it was like there was a lot of empathy, and you really worked. You know, you and me, Dice. You correct me if you don't agree, but I think one of the things we really explored was a friendship, right? That they really care for one another, and that Ryuzo again is not this stock villain, that he is perhaps misguided, but he's doing what he thinks is best for his people after having been burned by by Lord Shimura. So his intent is there, and I think that that's so admirable, and so to have that scene where you get to see just how much he realizes he's kind of down the wrong path, and kind of is at the point of no return, is really gratifying.
Yeah. I remember that day, being on set, and I was moved, and playing it too, and watching it. Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to like this guy, but I really, really do. I really, you have to care about Ryuzo.
Absolutely, and I think,
please, Earl, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that, just like the beautiful thing about it is that from the minute you guys encounter each other, like in that, like, you back into, the light, swords come out, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
you're alive. Like, just that moment, I think, creates such a beautiful energy. Like, there's a spark that we all see from that scene where we're like, oh man, these people really care for each other. And I think, your guys' work through all of your scenes together kind of constantly has this, like, I love you, but I hate you so much, like, energy about it, that it's that I don't know, it's that compression.
Totally.
Anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I think I haven't. It's interesting. I haven't actually had a chance to talk to Dice about this, but I think it is that, where it's like this love-hate relationship. Like every moment, not even, there's the scene where we can see how tragic Ryuzo is, but the scene between, you and me, it's so much of this is not about, we're trying to avoid fighting, right? We're trying the best to, but we're just at polar opposites in terms of what we need and want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started playing. I was planning to play it, but technical problems, you couldn't do it. So I started playing the first mission again, and I was reminded of, like, how much. In the very first scene, Jin is surprised to learn that Ryuzo was even at Komoda Beach, and they go horseback riding. So we did the VO part where. Ryuzo was off with his men, drinking with his men, and he just, he didn't think to say hi to his friend because Jin is, like, in a different class, and I guess the character playing Jin, I was kind of like naive I'm still naive of, like, what's wrong, Ryuzo? Like,
hey buddy,
there's nothing wrong.
What do you
hey
mean,
buddy,
there?
I thought we were friends. Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, just a quick shout out to Odenkaz and all of these wonderful subs and cheers that have been happening in the chat. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. It's all for this man, really, right down here, Mr. Wu. So going off of sort of what Dice was saying and talking about, well, sort of watching the scenes and things, is there anything that happened, like, since you've seen the sort of scenes that surprised you, like things that you weren't expecting, or I don't know, costume element, anything about from being covered in dots to seeing the actual final product?
No, I think, like everybody, I'm just astonished at how beautiful the game is. It's like poetry in motion, right? I mean, I knew it was going to be pretty based off of what I saw at E3 a couple years ago, but you play it and it's just stunning. The game is just so beautiful.
It's true.
And to see the likeness of everybody, you two and Lauren and Somali and Patrick and Francois and everybody, it's just like, look they look like us. It's surreal.
Yeah, it is.
And what is your dog's name?
Oh, yes.
The dog?
Sorry.
This one right here.
I know. Dice, I love how we both zeroed in on the dog. We were like... We got so excited.
Because I couldn't listen to the last part of your answer.
I know, we both got so distracted by your dog. I'm sorry.
Penny.
Penny.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's pretty cute.
Okay, so the rest of this stream is basically going to be about Penny.
Pennycast.
Right. I wish I had like a fox or something, but I'm not.
Oh, pet the Penny.
Oh, pet the Penny. Adorable.
Were there any surprises outside of the video game, like as far as like fandom, or has anybody reached out to you in any way?
Yeah, like the amount of people have reached out, and the fan art and the fans and my daughter saying hi, Daddy.
What was your daughter's name? Sorry.
Let's say Riley.
Right.
Riley.
Okay.
Hi, Riley.
Penny and Riley.
Getting ready for bed.
Oh.
The amount of I knew when we were doing it, we had something special in the sense that writing was fantastic and the collaboration was there, and they were all so sensitive to the fact that they were quote unquote outsiders trying to tell this story about, historical Japan.
Mm-hmm.
We had fantastic advisors in like Yumi and Sachi, and they were always there and all that. So they were so considerate of everything. That care to see it translated into the game, and to see not just the Western fans, but to hear, I've received so many messages from Japanese fans telling me how much they love the game, and I'm like, I think that is the true testament to what Sucker Punch has done in terms of creating such a fantastic world, that their research and love for this era, for the storytelling, and all that has come, and thus it resonates with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Billy, who's in the chats right now, and is Nate here? Who
I was
else
gonna
is
say.
here? Big claps to all the
Oh,
hi, Billy.
Hey, Billy.
Oh yes. So for those of you who don't know, Yumi and Sachi were the Japanese culture expert that would be in the room, either voiceover or mocap. Yumi was more about dialect, but she would also, because she's Japanese, she would have a lot to say about Japanese culture, and that really helped the storytelling.
Oh dang! The hype train ended, y'all. Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Y'all are so great. Oh, everyone's getting... Okay, we're spamming emotes. It's emote time. Everyone got excited because we unlocked a whole bunch of emotes. So, yay!
Oh! Is that what the... I'm still getting used to it. Okay, you do the hype train to get... I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy for you all. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, so... I guess another thing I wanted to ask you about is you have this really unique perspective, I think, among everyone in the cast, just because you also were able to play a Mongolian warrior during your time in Marco Polo, as well as a Ronin samurai during the Ghost process. What are your thoughts, I guess? I mean, this process was slightly different because we weren't, like on set. I'm sure it's different where you're like training every day and fighting all the time and stunt guys and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Say this. Season 3 of Marco Polo was supposed to deal with the invasion of Japan.
Oh.
I remember telling Ian that it was supposed to be one of the storylines. I remember telling Ian that. Ian's like wow, like he's like,
wow.
Offense, but I'm kind of glad that season it kind of ended after season 2. I think it would have been like an amazing storyline. But yeah, one of the things Ivy said to me when I went in for the casting for the audition, she's like, I want to look at the Marco Polo people because they know what it is to wear the stuff. Like they're wearing the stuff. And so that wasn't hard for me because that stuff is just, it's like, remember when I was on Marco Polo and the first day they did the costume designs. And for those of you out there, it's like usually what will happen on traditional TV film shows is they'll leave the clothing in your trailer and then you just go on set. The costumes on Marco Polo, I remember when I put this stuff on. There's like 5,000 layers of stuff. And so I told the costume designer, Joe Cora, and I'm like, she's laughed. She's like, no. You'll have a costume handler with you. So you have a hair handler and a costume handler every second you're on set. So like you're just, because the stuff is it's so immaculate and amazing, and it really kind of immerses you in that area. You just feel like you're there, but the stuff is so complicated, and if there's a weight to it. So I didn't have an issue with kind of carrying that weight with me, even though the audition was for a samurai. It's just kind of, I was familiar with the era, it's literally supposed to take place a couple years after season 2 is the invasion of Japan.
Wow.
Dang. That's wild. That's really incredible to hear. Okay. Now, here's a question. If Oris and Ryuzo got into a fight, who do you think would win? Because Oris is a badass too. Like, sorry, I'm kind of a big fan of Marco Polo. Also, because Benny's like,
amazing, love it.
Benny's like, Benny's probably one of the people that I look up to the most as far as like just anyway. That's just a personal thing.
I get it. Yeah.
But yeah,
who would win
Oris versus Ryuzo. Bana.
I never thought about that.
It's okay. You don't have to answer it now. You can take the whole time we're here. You can let it sit. You can let it marinate for a bit. But just have a thought.
I never thought about that. Yes, I'll have a thought about that. Sure.
Well, related. So you are you do martial arts, right? So you have a lot of experience with fighting. I'm a bad person, Asian person. I did not watch Marco Polo. What was the fighting like in Marco Polo, and how does it differ with the samurai fighting?
Well, the samurai fight, like, the stuff we did with Ghost, there's a very traditional way of, the holding the swords and stuff like that, and just the approach to using your weapons. If you read up on Mongolian history, it's kind of like no holds barred, right? It's like they would do anything to win. It's not about honor. Like that's exactly like, it's like Koten just tosses the fire, right? It's just like, yeah, okay, like we're not doing this, you're dead. And so specifically the family Oris comes from, he is a historical character, and he was the brother to Kutulun, and the Mongolian warrior princess, and she is, renowned for being this amazing wrestler. So our family is wrestlers, so I spent most of my time studying judo and jiu-jitsu, a lot of groundwork and stuff like that. So it was very, very different. Yeah.
And is that something you study now, or do you do other martial arts?
I don't really do a lot of groundwork stuff. I'm more like Muay Thai and Wushu, and that's more my background.
Very cool.
I did a little Muay Thai.
Yeah. I grew up doing Mantis, actually, for a few years.
What?
When I was younger. Yeah, so Northern...
I've never done Mantis. Really
Northern
pretty.
7-star Shaolin is my background. Shout out Boulder Kung Fu Academy.
I didn't know Mantis was a real thing. It sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
The stinging. Any favorite memories from your performance capture or voiceover session with me?
This is where we get to hear the tea about embarrassing stories about Dice.
Yeah, or Billy.
Or Billy, or anyone, or really anyone.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't even have to be actually...
Or like, just funny moments. I don't know, whatever.
It could be like outside of... Because I feel like we've had like social, you know, things with the artists outside. So I don't know.
I think, was there any... You know, I think it would have been funnier if things were like, you know, actors weren't on top of it, but I feel like everybody was really on top of it. And like, I don't know how... I mean, it was mind-blowing because like Dice at this point was doing, you know, he was doing his theater up in Oregon, and then flying down, and he'd have like hundreds of pages. I mean, I don't know how you were doing it, Dice. Yeah. It was impressive.
For a lot of people that don't know, so while Dice was up in Oregon doing Cambodian Rap Band and all those shows, he would come down and be there for a few days. And basically every single one of us would get slotted in to like every available hour that Dice had. So we would just be like,
it's all Dice.
Get it all in. And so it's just, we were all just spoking. And so, I mean, it's pretty incredible. But we would always have this like ships passing in the night moments where we'd be like, hey, you cool? Oh yeah, you're
cool. There was a question. Oh wait, were you going to say something?
No, not at all. Go ahead, please.
No, Mimi Yuma had a question, and in the interview, I said that the interaction between Ryuzo and Jin at Shimura Castle was an ad-lib. Their tense tactic in that scene was tragic, but really amazing. Did you guys have a detailed meeting about the scene, or did both of you, as Ryuzo and Jin, act out that scene on the spot? I remember that scene. Do you remember that scene? Our last scene?
Which scene? Please.
Oh, the sword one. Scene. Yeah, the sword one. The sword one. We always have a sword one. You know, the one with the sword.
Like, we talking about the last scene, right?
Yeah.
What's the question? Did we improv it?
Yeah, well, I mentioned in another interview about this, where, you know how Nate...
I remember you're like, let's try this, right? That
right.
thing.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved your idea. And I was like, I don't know what's gonna make it in the final, but it was it made sense. It made sense the way we ended up going with the game. But it was a nice. Again, what I love about working with them, it was like you do 4 takes, and this 5th one say, okay, what do you guys want to try?
Right.
Yeah. And then we tried something, and I was like, oh, I like what Dice is proposing for the 5th take. Yeah, remember that.
And I think because motion capture is very much, it feels very theatrical to me, in that we want a very clean take. For whatever reason, that's like the best way for them. Mm-hmm. So we try to make it clean and like precise and all that. But then at the very last, take, because we were allowed to do whatever, the discussion what I had with you, I believe, was just that, I would pull out a sword and said, you have to, do this and that. And you're like, nah, man, when, you can, you're the ghost. We can get away with this, if you just be my friend. And we were playing it safe and precise. And then the last take, you were like, you just came at me because Ryuzo knew that I wasn't like, I have honor enough that I'm not going to kill my friend. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of backed off, because I couldn't just stab you. But yeah, it was just, yeah. So we kind of talked about it before, especially with physical stuff. Like, we don't want to, with a sword, like, I don't want to just do something just to, surprise a fellow actor. So we did
totally. And I, not just about, I think there's like that level, there's an element of surprise that's always nice, but I feel like specifically because the game is a period piece, every move is so precise. Mm-hmm. There's a limit to how much you can improvise with your body. There's a way these people move, right? There's a specificity to it. Again, you can't, if you do too much, you're gonna look too modern, right? And it's like all about trying to be as economical as possible with the movement.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, like, with the because you mentioned the Mongolian armor, what did you think about the bodysuit? How did you get used to it? Do you love it?
I didn't mind it. So it didn't, like, I grew up doing Peking opera.
So, yes.
So I'm used to wearing. Used to it, so this was kind of like meh, it was. It's and to add to that, it would be if Dice showed up to set and you were laughing, then yes, I'd have a problem. But it was like everybody's just so in it, it just you completely forget. And again, Billy and Nate, they're just when you guys were working together, you just don't even think about the fact that you're in this ridiculous mocap suit.
Right. Yeah. And so you performed Peking opera on stage?
Tell us about the Peking opera.
Yes, I wasn't any good by any means, but yes.
See, now I'm just having.
I was in like the only.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was that?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. We had I think we had a little tech blip.
Stop.
Peking opera stories. We want them.
Yeah. Okay, so no, I grew up like the only in Washington D.C. It was like the one Chinese opera children's like teenage troupe in all of America.
Oh wow!
And I don't know how I fell into it. Well, I fell into it because my sister was doing it, so I ended up doing it. And and yeah, you're wearing, I would perform on like in the Washington Mall in like 105-degree full humidity in the makeup and all that stuff. So. Wow. I'm kind of used to it at this point. It's awful, but
but it's in your blood.
Yeah, so it's because it's in your blood. Do you have any like skills or a way of acting that you still use from Peking opera that's specific to that? By any chance?
Yeah, I mean it's. I think so much of it is when you take steps in Chinese opera, every step is very, very specific. Every move is specific. Every move means something.
Yes.
So again, that lends itself to doing period pieces. You just don't see people in period pieces moving. They don't gesticulate. They don't, they're not hands on. That's a very modern thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, whether that's real or not, I don't know. It's just how we digest information as film goers. We're just used to people being a little bit more reserved, hands to the sides by their weapons. We're just used to that as audiences.
Absolutely.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh man. Now I'm just imagining like the the Five Little Treasures, the Jackie Chan and Sammo
Jackie
Hung
Chan
and like
Yuan Biao,
Yuan Biao. Like, just imagining you
Yuan
like
Hua.
in there.
Yeah. They were. Jackie Chan was a big influence on my childhood, definitely.
Absolutely.
The Five Little Fortunes, they all were. They were in the big fans of all
Sammo
of them.
Hung, again with the big Asian boys. It's sort of I have a I have heroes.
Ridiculously athletic,
incredible.
Athletic,
like watching some of like specifically their films that they've done. Like they're doing stuff like that.
Meals on Wheels, and yes. Those guys were phenomenal. Him, Yuan Biao, and when they teamed up, it was
pretty magical. Okay.
You talked a little bit. You're coming from Washington D.C.
Yeah. My brother lives there.
This is a loaded question, but
okay.
Yeah. What is your? Where are you from? Is that a dumb question?
It's not a dumb question.
I love that.
It's not like you get that a lot, right?
We can ask each other, right?
We can ask each other that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can ask. Yeah. Okay.
Why do people take offense to that question?
Sometimes I feel like sometimes it can be really pointed. It also depends on I feel like who it's coming from. It's like where are you from?
Sure, and people who are from DC go, so you're not DC proper. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. So I'm not DC proper, but I grew up in Maryland, 10 minutes outside of DC.
Okay.
15 minutes outside of DC, yeah.
So like Bethesda?
Oh. Very near, Rockville, so very close to Bethesda. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, my brother lives in Annandale.
Oh.
The like there, it's nice. I mean, everybody's very suburbs. Very
yeah.
When my wife went there for the first time, she's like, "This is the land of strip malls." I'm like, It's true.
It is. I tell my brother that every time I'm there. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've never been. I was I was supposed to work there before the
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm maybe not. I'm sure it's fine. We were supposed to.
I don't know.
To do a show there,
and then it didn't happen
because of COVID.
The two of you?
Yeah. It'd have been great.
Am I allowed to ask questions to you guys?
I mean, of course. I don't think we should answer specific show or theater.
But I mean, Leonard, you can ask us whatever you want.
Yeah, you can ask. Yeah, this is a conversation. It's very chill.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to do. You guys want to do theater there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Then COVID.
The theater one time, long time ago, like 20 years ago, but at Studio Theater in DC.
Oh, at Studio. Yeah. Awesome. Studio is wonderful.
Long time ago.
Yeah. I just recently did theater there, like a couple years ago, when in the middle of us doing Ghost. But yeah, DC's a surprisingly wonderful theater town. Like, there's a lot of.
It's boom. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's very friendly to theater. Yeah, definitely.
Do you do a lot of theater? Did you just say 20 years ago you did theater?
I did it almost 20 years ago. I did it over in DC.
Okay.
And then it was like more out here in LA. I used to do tons of theater, but it's been a long time. Just the amount of commitment. Like, I applaud you gentlemen for. I'm just like, ooh, don't, the bandwidth is a little bit harder with a kid too. So, I just haven't been able to get back into theater in like the past 10 years.
Of course. I mean, also, you've got all these amazing projects in TV film that are calling you. So, like,
I guess that's debatable. But thank you, Earl.
Well, now that you've done a little video games, do you have you done other video games? And also, what is your favorite so far? TV, film, or video games?
Like honestly, so this is the one and only video game I've done, and honestly, in many ways, it has been the most rewarding.
Oh, cool.
I always talk about this anecdote where I think you were there, Dice. I don't know if you heard me, but no, I know you were there because all my sisters were with you. But I said to Nate, was like, love that we get this rehearsal process before we film. And then and he looked at me and he's like, what are you talking about? You guys don't do this in Hollywood? Like, you don't do this in film? I'm like, no, we get on set and we just do it. He's like, terrible. I'm like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I would love to rehearse. And I'm like, I
think the only set I've ever worked on where we've had a rehearsal was Shameless. And that's because the director is an old British theater guy. And so we did like walkthroughs, we did talk through, like, it was like one of those wait, is this actually happening? And he's like, yeah, we're having a rehearsal. And I was like, I got so excited.
It really like I said, I haven't done theater in 10 years, and it gave me that, it filled up that theater tank again for me, because to do the rehearsals and to explore and chat about it, and not doing it in any indulgent way. It was like everything was really geared towards all the performances, and it was just so collaborative, and you just don't really get that because you're on you have time and money on that's on film and TV that you just got to keep moving. The machine has to move, and it's not that the machine doesn't have to move for the game, but it's like these performances are so crucial to everything. Let's get these right, and as an actor, I'm selfishly like, yes, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's always about the money, but I don't know why we don't rehearse more for TV and film.
Yeah,
just a day, just
one day, half a day,
fuck around. That'd be
Well, you discover your character, like you really start to figure out the character, and if you guys are chatted about this, but it's like the video game process. It's like they're writing us, they're exploring, and we kind of go along. And I don't know. I've never talked to Ian or anybody about it, but was under the impression that like my character wouldn't be as big as he ended up being, and I think it's like through seeing perhaps what I brought to the table, it was like, okay, well, let's do this with him, and let's bring him here and do these things. So, you know, I just, you can't do that in film and TV. It's like you have the script, you gotta roll. But love that in the video game. It was like, well, let's explore this and let's explore that and see where it takes. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's a lot of stuff. I also, because my character went through a bunch of changes from casting to final product, but I think that a lot of it sort of does come from that sort of, okay, we have this idea of what we think this character is going to be, but we haven't put an actual human being in that space. So once you put an actual living, breathing human being into that space, then there's sort of that, like, I don't know, alchemy that happens between the set character and the actual person. So I think, one of the things that I constantly talk about when people ask about this project is just sort of the ability to adapt and learn and grow and change that everyone from Sucker Punch, I feel like, did. Like Patrick, Liz, like the whole writing team, like Ian, like they all just sort of were like, who are these people and how do we get the extraordinary things that we see in them, like, out into this world? And I think that I really appreciate that so much. Yeah.
100%. Well, they really championed us. Yeah. And you held it down. Like it just.
I think we all.
It's like you are Jin, right? And it's like acting opposite you was never ever difficult.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about this. Thank you. Funny to talk about this because I'm sure a lot of you have seen like the director's commentary on. If you get the special edition, you get the there's like an hour-long documentary thing, or not documentary, but Nate is talking about the process, and I was surprised to learn that they were looking for a Toshiro Mifune type. And then I came in and had to be a softie and be like, "Ooh, look at Fox, cute little Fox," and they were like, "Yes, that's
we're into that."
Because I haven't seen this, but I had to watch this because so they were like, you did that, and they were like, that's Jim.
Yeah. I mean, I was still, I was like stoic,
Of course, no, I know.
But I was also.
I did. Yes, I did see that. Yes. No, it's like Jin is distracted by cute furry animals.
and that ended up in the game. Because we're talking about this, and I'm sorry to the chat because I'm totally doing this at random, like looking and like, oh, might be a good question.
Yeah, of course.
I saw if you can choose, and this is kind of detailed, but if you can choose whatever to do as Ryuzo, what would you do to change or impact the situation of Mongolian invading your homeland, and what would you do to better Ryuzo's social status as a young male in the late 17th century feudal Japan, aspiring to be a proper samurai?
Please answer in 5-paragraph form. We expect an introductory paragraph and a conclusion paragraph.
I just feel like 46 Real Light took a time to ask that question. I just had to read it.
My goodness, that was.
I don't know. That's a lot.
I honestly don't know what. As far as Ryuzo is concerned, I'm like, I don't know. I'm biased. I don't think he did exactly what he thought was right.
Yeah.
If history had been different and he had won the fight against Jin, then history would be different, right? Like people would be playing as Ryuzo. It's so I think he was just sticking by what he thought was morally the right thing to do. Historically, like if again, I was reading up on just how you guys know, it's like doing the research. It's like, man, Mongolians, you just get out of their way. Those guys were crazy back then. They were, it's like basically they're known as like the best warriors in history. They're frightening. They're frightening. And they don't follow any rules, right? So I'm like, history with this, the tsunami hit and it wiped out the Mongolian fleet. in a way, like the game is Jin represents that tsunami, right? But honestly, I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of like when everything I studied during Marco Polo, in 2015, I was like, just get the F out of their way, like, just
escape.
Yeah. Now I'm curious because as just a player and an audience, do you think a spoiler? Well, spoilers. Everybody's seen it. Do you think Jin should have let Ryuzo live? Do you think? Because there's a part of me that was like, why did? Because Jin could have been like, you know what? This is just between us. Don't ever do this shit again. The same thing he did with Lady Masako, kind of, right? Or do you think Jin did the right thing?
If you were Jin.
If you were Jin.
If you were Jin. If the tables had turned.
Oh, I never try to compare it to Masako. Let me think for a second.
I'm curious. I'm just curious too. I don't know. I mean, that might have been too.
I mean, no, it's a great question. I mean, Jin is he's such an altruistic character. He's the hero that 2020 needs. There's a big reason that this game resonates with people right now. Not just because like we're in quarantine and we need games to play. Like, it's a fantastic game, but so much of it is like we need a hero like Jin, and to escape into that kind of a character and embody him is a great cathartic experience for people. So that being said, I think he did exactly what he needed to do because he tried time and time again. Like, he is of the forgiving nature. He is the guy who sees the glass half full and does his best to live by his precepts. So he gave a chance the first time around. In the final battle, tried like, come with me, like you turn yourself in, and so I think he did exactly what he needed to do.
I think so.
Yes,
I'm still sad about it. I love it.
It's so sad.
I'm actually sad that
it should be. I think it was like when we would chat about it, it was like that was so important to make Ryuzo an empathetic character. If he was just a stock villain, then turn wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But, they're kind of like this. This you're kind of like the stars. Like Butch and Sundance kind of a thing. They're peas in a pod, and then one turns on the other. It's like that's an awful feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Should we? I was gonna shift over to a couple of other non-ghost questions. Mainly in the fact that
yes, please.
I'm really curious because I'm curious about I'm curious about this for every single Asian actor that I meet and that I know. What made you want to pursue acting? And what did your parents think about it?
Hey, this is weird. I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't want to be an actor. As far as back as I can remember, like I always wanted to be. That being said, I did do the Chinese opera thing, which was more because I did martial arts. I did a lot of the performing martial arts. That aside, I never acted in high school. I was too afraid and too set in my ways. And you know how high school has their segmented populations of theater geeks and Asian wannabe gangsters and
cool Asians,
mean girls. Cool Asians, yes.
What were you? What were you?
I was the dude who traversed cool Asians and nerdy Asians.
Nice.
I see that. Went back and forth between
dabbling all over.
Yeah. Like, I just didn't want to be a theater geek. So,
Understandable.
I felt like in a way, even though that was like, okay, it's off the I was still digesting film in a different way already, watching people in a different way. And when I, turned 18 and I had to go to school, it was like, go to college, university, I was like, well, I can stay here and be in denial about what is my gut is telling me, and I can, go into politics or government work or whatever.
DC.
Out here in DC, or a government contractor, or I have an opportunity now to start all over and go to the West Coast or go to New York, Yeah. I was like, nobody knows who I am in LA, so I get to pretend like I'm that theater geek. So I did.
Yeah, I was a total theater nerd. Yeah, but you went to which school?
UCLA.
Hey!
Bruin. I don't know if is there a hand gesture for Bruins? I don't know.
No, there's like there's the a clap. There's the a clap for us Bruins, right?
What is it? Yeah. I don't know. I never participated.
Neither did I. I'm a terrible Bruin.
You were there for your education, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You were focused on your studies.
What was your study?
You're in an Asian American minor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and then going off
Theater Underground.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, going off of going back to that question that you were asking, that we were talking about when we asked about how you started off being an actor. If you could be anything other than an actor, what would you have been?
So there was 2 seconds in my childhood, because I'm obsessed with comic books and art. So there was 2 seconds in my childhood where I was like, I want to become a comic book artist. I was such a lazy artist then, so I didn't put in the work, so it never ended up becoming much of anything.
I mean, wait,
but yeah, I think a comic book artist.
But hold on, you are a comic book artist, aren't you?
Yes, but that in many ways is because of quarantine. Like I have so much time on my hands now that all I do is draw.
That's amazing. And you've got artwork in a upcoming comic book thing. Yes. Yeah. Buddy reached out to me and was like, "Can you do a variant cover for my comic book?" And I was like, I'd never done it before, and I was like, yes. Can I?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, and so people have been reaching out, asking me to create pieces of art for whatever, and I'm like, cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's all kind of intertwined.
It kind of has. Yeah. Because during quarantine, none of us have really had an opportunity to do much of any acting, and it was a great outlet for me that kind of reignited my childhood passion. So yeah.
That's really awesome.
And you sent some of those to me so I can put it on my thing, but my OBS was not working. Do you have any that you can show? I can show it on my phone.
Yeah,
just show
phone.
We're doing if you have it, Earl.
Phone slideshow. Well, I don't know because I don't think I got those files.
Look at it.
You can just show like that, Dice, because I don't know how else to share it. Because
This is our first interview episode, y'all.
Yeah, we're learning.
This is how.
Learning. Thanks
this is
for,
where. Look at that. That's amazing.
Us, y'all.
That's a raptors. And are these? These
that's
are
for the comic book, right?
What do you use?
For the comic book, I just use pens like
Wakanda Forever.
No, these.
Forever.
What ended up happening was when quarantine happened, I was like, I follow so many artists. I was like, okay, what are they? I have the time. What do they use? How are they? So I would sit there and watch their videos and stuff.
How are they making
what pens
art?
What pens are they using? What paper are they using? Let me try to do this like they do it, and then I just kept doing it.
That's awesome.
But you've drawn before this. You do have experience.
I do, but I haven't drawn in over 25, 30 years. Yeah,
Wow.
It's been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's the octopus? Is he an octopus
he was like
monster?
a kaiju monster. I created off the top of my head.
Leonard Wu creation.
Yes,
that means you get to name it.
I do, yes.
What is it? Do you have a name?
Well, it was like an octoturtle, kind of like a turtle. So I don't like
Octoturtle.
Pokemon gone wrong.
Octoturtle.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. And yeah, because also you've like sold this as an auction, I believe. Have you done on Instagram?
Yeah, I've done some for different foundations like Black Lives Matter. So I did a couple Black Panther pieces. I did it for the NAACP.
Awesome.
I did a picture of Storm that got auctioned off too.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
That's very
we need to learn how to do that. So we'll talk later about how to do that. So I can finally get rid of, give away I have a special edition, of the game all signed and ready to go.
We could do that. We've got to set up an auction to do a fundraiser.
I don't know how to do an auction.
It's coming on the horizon, y'all. It's coming on the horizon. It's going to be...
It's tricky. I try to do it with Lauren too, and it's not as easy as it looks to do auctions. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, is it so it's not as simple as like we're going live. Oh, who wants to pay me 50, 60?
Yeah, you think it's that easy, and then Lauren and I would be texting like, "Oh, this is much harder. Like it is. I don't have the answer. I can advise you guys, but we have to think through the details. It's a lot trickier than it sounds.
I just wish we could get someone that would be able to do the $50 now, $100 now, $300 now.
Well, with Instagram,
I think you should do it, Earl. That's perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. With Instagram, Lauren told me that like some kid was like 2 million. It's like, okay,
that was the problem. Like, are these real? You can't tell. And it's like, well, how many of these are fake? And that's the problem with social media, right?
And that's the problem with social media. You've heard it here first from Leonard Wu, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You don't know who's real or their children. Like,
well, 13-year-olds being like, I want to interact with Lauren. 2 million. It's like, what?
But then it's also like, what if that was real?
What if he's like a really rich kid? Like,
just a bored rich kid. I totally forgot that I interrupted you before you finished talking about what did your parents think about you deciding to be an actor?
My parents, I think they were confused. They weren't angry. They were just like, you've never shown any agency on your own part, any interest on your part. Like, what? Where? This is out of left field, you know.
And now
so I think there was
to
more
the other side of the country.
Yeah. And so in a way, it was like I figured, in hindsight, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, like so you know, they never said no, but I think it was like, prove yourself then. Like I would never ask for the help. Like if you want to make a go, just go for it. But we're not going to hold your hand.
Yeah.
We're not going to support you financially if you get out of college. I'm like, that's fair.
And is it true that they're the ones who kind of forced you into the Chinese opera?
At the beginning, yes. In the beginning, like they were like, "Go do this," and my sister was doing it. And I'm like, "What? Like, you should be playing sports. I'm a dude." And you know, you start doing it, and it was like the obsession with Jackie Chan was already there. So understanding what it was like, you're playing with weapons. It's like on the weekends. High school, that's how I spent my time. It was like I was rehearsing, you know, fight scenes and all this stuff. So choreography always came very easy to me because I've been doing it since I was a kid.
That's awesome.
And so does that mean that they were kind of theater people or not really? Or they just thought you'd like it?
Not. They thought it was. I think they thought it was a way to pass my time in a safe space without getting into too much trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Even our fights are safe, you know?
Yeah.
Fights. Exactly. They're all fake.
Yeah. Also, we cut you off in your path of becoming an actor. So, as you were majored in English, you started doing theater in LA. Mm-hmm. What would you say was like, I don't like to say like a breakout thing, or when did you feel like you were going in the right direction, or you know what I mean?
Let's be honest, don't we all wonder that like all the time?
Are we going in the right direction? I don't know what I'm doing right now.
You know.
That's fair.
Right? I mean, to a degree, I feel like actors like are like I thought, but I don't. It depends on the day. That all being said, I think it culminated in a way. My first SAG union acting job was a guest star of Veronica Mars, and that I think I don't want to say that was the thing. It got me, heading in the film and TV direction.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's also that thing where, I don't know, for me as well, I think it's just that like first union gig that you're like, wait, I'm allowed to play now? Like, wait, what? Are you okay? Great. You know, I think that there's so much in that, like, in just
totally.
That moment.
You get to play, and they have money. Like, you're just like, it's like usually because I'm sure with you guys too. It's like you played with no money. There was no money behind it before that.
Right.
When it's like non-union, you're doing student films. There's no money. You're doing theater in LA. There's no money. You do it for the love of it.
Yep.
So,
right.
Yeah.
But it's also important to like know your worth.
Yeah. I did see in the chat there was a couple of
get paid for the work that we do.
Yeah. There's a couple of questions from a bunch of people along the same lines of if Leonard, if you had advice to give, and it always happens when we're talking about acting in the industry, like, what is the piece of advice that you would give to a young student of acting and trying to make it right now? If you could impart on them a nugget of wisdom, what would it be?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like 2020 Leonard, right? This is not. It's like
which is very different.
Through a lot, everyone. This is
right, and well, it's also I think a lot of us have been through a lot in the past half year, but 20-year-old Leonard would approach things differently. This is me giving advice as a older guy in the industry now. I think most of these people are already going to get a lot of advice about the hustle, about knowing the agents around town, taking what class. I think that's all, they're going to get a lot of that. I think what I would say to them to counter that is forgiving of yourself, patient with yourself. With everything that's happened this year, it's almost like acting is my life. It defines me. All of it is important. None of it is. Because you, as a human being, everything you do is an extension and is an expression of yourself, right? You don't have to be validated by Hollywood to be considered an artist. I know we seek that, and I struggle with that, which is why we're like, depends on what day, right? Because we are validated by our work. Be forgiving of yourself. Remember that the validation is that you are, every day you wake up, you are who you are, and you are an artist. So explore that in whatever way that may express itself. If it wasn't for quarantine, I wouldn't have picked up a pen again and started drawing. And I learned so much because I had so much time. So I kind of to jump through. I got to advance really quickly because of the amount of time I had. But that's not to say I had the background already from when I was a kid. But that's so my advice is, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, talking with people outside of the industry, when things are safer, traveling, interacting with people. That's what we do as artists.
Yep.
If you deprive yourself of that, you're not living your life as the fullest human being you could be. But don't deprive yourself of that stuff when things are safer, and be forgiving of yourself, because no matter where you are in your life as an actor, you're always going to feel like it's not enough. It's only in learning feeling of why does this feel like it's not enough is because we can't be defined by what Hollywood defines us as.
Yes.
We had to figure that out for ourselves.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Sorry,
I want
that was a
to.
lot.
No, it's great.
That's
why I
amazing.
didn't want to say
This is
anything.
why we're here.
Can I want to quote. Did you say all of it is important,
And
or
none
not?
of it.
None of it?
All of it is important, and none of it is.
Oh, okay. I'm Leonard Wu. I'm gonna.
That's some wabi-sabi stuff right there. Wabi-sabi.
Yeah. All of it important, none of it is. That's amazing. I'm writing that down. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
We're taking notes. Yes. Yes, thank you, Leonard.
Sorry, yeah.
No.
I know I just blabbed off like a whole spiel there.
No,
it's great.
Again, reiterating. That's why we're here. We want the spiels.
You mentioned writing, and you've done writing and producing. What kind of projects, as a producing writing perspective, are you drawn to?
Not the best writer, but I do practice. I do write a lot less so since quarantine. One of the things that I've been really luckily good at is seeing talent, seeing what I can do with it in terms of writers. And I think one of the reasons that came about is because I love reading. Anytime somebody tells me you should read this book, I'll pick it up and I'll read it.
Wow.
I love digesting. I prefer, in fact, reading books over screenplays or watching TV. That's my preference. Again, before quarantine, things are a little harder with a daughter that I have to watch all the time. Understanding of storytelling, because I'm just kind of always digesting it.
Awesome.
When I was in college at UCLA, a good friend of mine, Kevin Lau, he was assistant directing on a show. We came up together, and 7-8 years after college, he went on to Columbia U to get his MFA. We would continue. He'd come back here to LA. We'd keep shooting stuff. Shot his thesis. It swept the NBC Shortcuts in 2018, I think. And he got all these accolades, and he was getting ready to move back to LA, and he was like, what's the next step? Took one of his features, and I'm kind of his right-hand man at this point because I would just help him out with everything, and I'm just, I understand his aesthetic. So we took one of his features and we broke it into a TV show. And we tried to sell this in 2013, 14. And we made the rounds. Everybody loved it. Nobody wanted to touch it because it was all Asian Americans.
Surprise.
Fast forward 3 or 4 years later, it's an amazing spec piece. And it made the rounds. He got hired on this short-lived USA show called Damnation. From Damnation, went on to do Lovecraft Country. He wrote the Korea War episode.
It's so good. Oh my god. That's amazing.
He is fucking amazing. He's an amazing human being. He's an amazing writer. When I read the script last year, I was like, this is you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but the episode's aired. I was like, dude, you got your work cut out for you, because this is a story about Korea and the history of America in Korea is not pretty. And the fact that an American soldier ends up with a Korean woman can be problematic. Because Hollywood has a history of this. He's like, I know. And I was like, I do not envy you, Kevin. I do not. Yeah, good luck. And then he wrote it, and I was like, wow.
It's gorgeous.
You know, like this is
incredible.
Beautiful. It's horrifying. It's beautiful. I love the show, and that episode for me is still my favorite. Of course, I know I'm biased. You know, he just does so much. He does so much with when he writes it. So much, you get so much mileage out of his writing.
Yeah.
So, I'm still, partners with him. We still develop, and he's got his first look overall deal with HBO. So he's writing on some huge projects. He went from Lovecraft Country to work with Joss Whedon on The Nevers. He's a producer, writer on that.
Oh wow! Dang.
Hopefully they'll pick up soon. And he's got other things that at HBO that are pretty amazing, that he's working on, and we're just, doing our thing. And so because I worked with he's one of, if not the best writer I know, and he's such a consummate professional in how hard he works. So when I find other writers that I think are immensely talented, I said, let's do something together. Let's work together. I can help you. I can, because from working with Kevin over all these years. So I think I'm very good at collaborating with other writers that I find immensely talented. So that's kind of what I do aside from the acting.
That's awesome. It's really inspiring.
Yeah. I think it's always great to, as actors, we can't just say our lines. It's important to, produce and collaborate. And I feel like, streaming has become kind of our thing now.
It's become a thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
And there's an art to it. There's like a I think it's. I joke seriously that I'm such a Luddite. I'm like last video game I played was GoldenEye. So I'm like, I talk to my friends and I'm like, wait, you're on YouTube and you can make money off YouTube and you can make money. What? Like, my other actor friends, and I'm like, how? I don't understand this. But I'm like, go full force, go do that because that's amazing. Traditional Hollywood is like, it's in many ways such a fossil, right? There's so many other things we can explore and ways to engage with audiences. It's like, and if you have the capacity to do it.
Yeah, I think it's also that the ways we tell stories are evolving in so many ways, especially with technology, that I think we're in this sort of I don't know, really fertile ground where things kind of are a little crazy with you got TikTok and then you had Vine before that and all this stuff, and then you've got Twitch, blah blah blah, and YouTube and all these things, and even Quibi and sort of short form and new media stuff, all of that stuff is sort of changing I think how we digest story as well as how we think about story, which I think is really, really interesting.
Absolutely. And quarantine has also created, it was like, well, I hope to God it doesn't happen, but it's like, what happens in movie theaters? Like, what's the next step? How do we digest entertainment? What does it look like, right? So
absolutely. Theaters. So I was just going to say, theaters not going to be back for a while.
So it's like, how do and so it makes sense that gaming is really big right now. And I remember telling my friend, even though I'm not a gamer, 8-9 years ago, I was like this is 10 years ago, before this is Twitch and all this stuff, I said to my friends, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I believe the future is where however cinema and gaming are met and audiences watching that. And I said, I don't know how audiences will watch it, and I don't know why they would watch it. Oh, there now. I was like, I don't understand. I don't know the details, but everything's here now. It's all happening now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. I always use this example or this comparison about video games, and really the only other thing that most people spend the amount of time that people spend on video games with, as far as finding a story and doing that and doing the thing, is a novel, I feel like there's like books. It involves an actual investment of time of sitting there with the book or e-reader or whatever you have, but like you actually have to put the time in to get through the book. I mean, if you're a speed reader or whatever, but like as far as video games go, I feel like it is that sort of like I'm going to intentionally put these hours into this story, and so I feel like it's really interesting that they do sort of have these coalescing threads.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Just thinking about things.
Love it.
So, if I were to ask you what's your favorite video game, it would just be the GoldenEye. Is that? I feel like that's what I'm hearing.
Do you ever have like? Are there any in your memory that like stand out as far as anything?
Well, back in the day when I was playing, I mean, like childhood, like Contra defined. Like I love Contra.
What's
Contra?
Old school.
It was like
the gun.
game.
Yeah, but it's the two guys.
Yeah, two soldiers. Like side scrolling. Aliens and stuff like that, and Contra, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2.
Fighting games. I feel like there's definitely as Asian men, Asian American men. I feel like we do at some point have a moment with fighting games.
Sure. Yeah, we all do. I mean, that being said, like I think the game that had that really was, I was like, this is. As a person who's in the game now, I'm like, people are experiencing this probably time and time again with the games out there now. Was Final Fantasy 3.
Oh yeah,
like that for me, right? Like I no offense to Cloud and his crew. Like for me, Final Fantasy 3, I'm like, people who are watching are younger. The scope of story in Final Fantasy 3. Like nothing I've ever seen. The characters, even though they're like this crappy graphics, storytelling just really pulls you in, and it was so immersive. And I just remember all the emotions that I went through with that game.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never played it. I hope they make a remake of that as well. I don't know why they.
The crazy thing about Final Fantasy 3, because Final Fantasy 3, when it was Final Fantasy 3 in America, is technically Final Fantasy 6, I believe.
Actually 6.
Yeah, and so they when we refer to Final Fantasy 3, we're usually talking about Final Fantasy 6, but it was released in America as Final Fantasy 3, so there's so many weird. Again, this is my gesture for today. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, but that game was like 30. That game was like 30 years ago. So that was the end of my that was the apex of my gaming.
But that's beautiful. I captured you. Oh man.
Yeah, it did.
All right. Are we taking more questions? I feel like we're. Are there any?
I'm sure there were, but I feel like we missed them.
Yeah, we missed a bunch of questions. I don't know. Has anyone
kind of scrolled by?
Any messages from? Let me see.
I have the list.
Yes, Marnelli.
You have a list? I didn't know you were making a list.
We have a list.
I told you I would be watching for you guys.
Thank you.
Marnelli.
Hello, I am a mysterious voice from the clouds. So we did get quite a few questions. I think we can start off with, there's a lot of questions that we're asking Leonard about how you feel about Ryuzo himself. One of them specifically from Mobile Potion says, what aspects of Ryuzo's personality are similar to yours, and what was the most difficult to act?
That's a great question. I think I like to think that I'm a person who sets a high bar in terms of like how to live a life and how to behave. I think that despite his social standing, I think Ryuzo he's an incredibly honorable guy who tries his best for his people, not by what is defined by government or by state, but to his people. That's what matters, and I that really resonates with me, because that's who I'm like. It doesn't matter to me. The most important opinions are those of my family and friends. And just never had this sort of a similar life or death situation, but I think that I would do anything for my family and friends, even the hard thing, even the hard choice.
Like burn somebody?
Metaphorically,
hey man,
yes.
If it's necessary.
Metaphorically.
If it's wartime, and
if they're coming for your family, then fuck yeah, I'm gonna burn up.
Manelli, next question.
Cool. Another one was, what's it like playing an antagonist character?
It is like 90% of what I play. I remember when Dice is like, "Oh, I get to play a hero." I'm like, I don't know what that's like, because you're used to playing villains too, right?
Yeah.
I remember you saying that. So I was like, oh, I'm similar to you in that way, except that I still haven't yet to play. Not that I never will, but up until this point, I've always played villains, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I love it. I think that being allowed to chew on scenery, but also the complexity, like bringing some kind of interesting complexity. Because again, being afforded the opportunity to be a not a stock villain is always like, what can I do with this? How can I, and like Marco Polo, right? He's technically a villain. He's an antagonist. Horus is, and it's like, I'm like, okay, how do I try to humanize this character? Where can I work with the director in specific moments? It's not on the page. How can I try to humanize this guy?
Yeah.
So that audiences get at least a second or two of understanding why he's doing what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. Great.
Awesome. So this one then we have from Sayuri Gorilla. According to my personal observation, Japanese male players tend to feel irritated by Ryuzo's character and actions, while female players, on the other hand, have a more compassionate attitude towards him. They would like to know what your personal opinion on Ryuzo himself and the actions he took in the game are.
Huh.
It's interesting. I didn't know there was like a divide between the sexes.
Yeah, that's really
your
fascinating.
Opinions about him. That's interesting. I get it. Like, if I was to take a step back from everything, I would say, yeah, like, look, he betrayed his best friend. The amount of... This is funny. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter in the past 2 or 3 months, but it was like the amount of tweets about Ryuzo being a hoe-assed N-word.
Oh no!
Like,
oh no!
Yeah. It was like, I was like, oh, this is fascinating. People really hate me. That's fair. Like, he's, like I get it. He betrayed his best friend. I get that. But at that point, allegiance was to his men. Who came first? All of his men who were looking to him to survive, or his friend. And he has a complicated history with, who represents a class he will never belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that, like we mentioned, like the fact that he didn't say hello at Komodo Beach, I think speaks volumes. Like their friendship was already kind of in a weird spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Slightly different direction, but still related to Ryuzo. Billy was asking, what is the weirdest thing that the team asked you to do?
Was there anything weird? Billy, are you looking for a specific answer?
Why does Billy always ask that question? I don't.
He's just checking up on everyone else. He's checking up on everyone else.
Yeah, I wonder if Billy's like, I hope he doesn't remember what I what we ask him
No,
to
do. Billy's like, I wonder if the casting thinks I'm weird. Am I weird? You're not. Like, Billy is so man. I love you, Billy.
Yeah.
I never got to meet Billy.
Oh, what?
I'm the one. I'm the one person that Billy never got to meet because he wasn't there when I was. Yeah, is this sad? Yeah, but anyways.
Wow.
I love you, Billy.
We will eventually get Billy.
We will. We're gonna make.
Yeah,
it
we'll eventually. You know, I really don't like. Again, everybody was so considerate. There really wasn't. I wish I could tell you some funny anecdote. I don't think there was any moment where you guys asked me anything that was odd or out of character.
I'll just add a story to it since we never talk about this. One of the scenes, I believe before our last fight, getting into our last fight. Maybe I can talk about it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. One of the ideas that they had was like that the castle maybe was like gonna be on fire. Like it's gonna be on fire, and they were like, how does the fire start? How does the fire start? And they didn't really know how to figure that out. And they were like, we'll just figure it out. So one of the takes, what I did was like after the very serious scene, I went over to one of the candle holders and I knocked it with my sword. Because I thought that would be funny.
Like a fussy, angry cat?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we're going to fight. And they go... I hope they kept that so they play it.
There's a secret take somewhere. Now,
there's a lot of secret takes.
They're going to release it. It's just Jin Cat DLC where Jin just knocks things off of tables. He's just tipping things over in people's houses, just making a mess.
Yeah. It's like that's how the fire got started. That was the
awesome.
I was trying to help. That was the kind of collaboration I
Amazing.
I gave.
Oh man, I don't know if there ever would
be
a
sorry.
Super Real.
Martin Alley?
That would be
beautiful. I will make sure that everybody at the team is aware of this. Moving away from the game, Willa asked, actually, what Asian American author do you think should be added to the Asian American masterpiece from Penguin Classics?
Yes, this is a really great question.
Who is this for?
Well, it's mostly for you, Leo, but I mean, it looks like Earl wants to add to this too.
Please, Earl.
I just thought it was a really good question because I wish one of my things was like, I wish I knew more Asian American authors. I know a lot of Asian American playwrights, but I feel like as far as like actual like novelists go, like, yeah. What are your recommendations?
Yeah.
Recommendations.
I don't know who is in the Penguin Classics, but I think one of the authors to look out for right now is, it's kind of obvious, is Ken Liu. He won like all these awards for short paper menagerie, which you can find online. It's amazing. And then he did book 1 and 3 of The Three-Body Problem, which he adapted from Cixin Liu, the Chinese novelist. It's some of the most amazing writing hard science I've ever read. And he's got his own series, the Dandelion Chronicles, I think it's called. So if he's not, he should, and he will be at some point. I mean, he's gonna blow up. I know that. Like his stuff is he's already pretty known, but I don't know if he's mainstream. But yeah, he's definitely Ken Liu is one that comes to my mind right off the bat.
Taking notes.
I don't read, so I don't read a lot.
You guys don't know, Dice had to learn all of his lines through headphones. It's not that Dice doesn't read. Dice can't read.
I'm a visual learner though, so it's very difficult.
So you don't see it, but when he's streaming, someone is in the corner actually reading the lines to him in a tiny microphone. I know he's been reading all of the text in Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it's actually there's someone in his ear the whole time. You heard it here first.
You know, that's how Al Pacino did it, and you know, so anyway, Martelli, sorry.
Oh, all good. Related, do you have a favorite book to recommend?
I do recommend Three Body Problem. if you know that Netflix is now trying to turn that into a Benioff and Weiss optioned it, and
yes,
Alexander Wu is attached, and it's gigantic. If you want to have your mind melt the best way possible, read Three Body Problem. Like read all three of them.
Oh.
It's sprawling. I'm looking at what books I have. I'm excited about rereading Dune because Dune is coming out.
Oh my God, Leonard! Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this remake, and it's such a good book.
No, it's fantastic. I'm a big fantasy sci-fi guy, so. And read anything from Haruki Murakami.
Yeah.
Yes, Murakami. Yes.
I don't read, but I've read all of his books, and that's it. Weirdly enough,
he's the next level. I mean, his stuff is like being in a dream. It's not even reading. It's like it's the closest to dreaming you're going to come.
Absolutely.
Reading text.
True.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yun 1899 was asking if you have a favorite play.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that's a question for Dyson now.
I think that's the reason why that question came up, is because it's so prevalent in the streams normally. So it's like, hey, we have a new person. What about them?
Do they like the theater?
No.
What about of the ones that you've done, at least?
Any you remember?
That you remember?
Any
yes, the last performance I did was Suddenly Last Summer, Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee Williams.
Yeah. So I love Tennessee Williams. I love Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. That's not like is my favorite. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read plays in a long time. I did. You know what? This is not here. This is not even. I'm not making this up. Before I got cast, before I worked with Dice, I went to watch Cambodian Rock Band because my buddy Raymond was in it. Yeah, and I went up to you, but you had so many people that I told you I was going to be working with you, but there was so many people that day. But Cambodian Rock Band, oh man, no. Yes, I mean to date, my favorite theater going experience in the past decade was probably a Cambodian Rock Band. It made me laugh and smile, and you're so great in it, Dice. Like I just love the turns that happen with your character, because it opens up with Dice, and you're like, this guy's so great. He's so fun, and and then
it gets real sinister real fast,
and it's just. Yeah, it gets sinister, but there's so much heart to it. It's such a fantastic play, and everybody's fantastic in it. So I think that was one of it is definitely the best theater going experience I've had in the past decade.
I would say that's my favorite. I'm biased, but yeah, my favorite play so far.
So good, so good.
You're totally allowed to be biased, Dice. It's okay.
We're all biased.
Just
so now we're gonna kind of go a little bit of tangent here with the last couple of questions, but Zealous Starkly is asking, which Ninja Turtle is your favorite?
That's a good question. I think I just gravitated towards Leo because my name is Leo. And I have this thing with my friends where they go, what X-Men would you be, right? And everybody's like, they're all cool X-Men, and then they're like, to me, they're like, you're Cyclops, and I'm like, what? He's like fucking boring and lame, and like, yeah, but you're Cyclops, and I'm like, all right, fine, So, and I thought Cyclops in many ways is kind of like Leo, just a guy who just takes shit too seriously.
But someone's got to be the leader.
Yeah,
someone's got to be the leader.
Yeah. That is how I look at it.
That's just how your group of friends see you. That's how they see you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
They see me as like the guy who's. I want to say I'm not fun to be around, but they're like, he's the guy who takes things too seriously.
And how do you see yourself? Like, if you could choose,
I definitely. I'm offended by that, but it's probably true.
Okay, so you admit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a
cool. The last one that I have here on the list. Obviously, for people who have never come to any of the streams before, this may go over their heads, but Leonard, what hamburger shop is your favorite?
Best burger for... Yes. What's your favorite?
This is really funny. Okay, so for people who are on the stream, I'm going to... Story. One time when Dice was streaming, there's a bunch of Sucker Punch people on, and there was a scene between Dice and me, and Nate, the director, said, Leonard, what is Ryuzo's motivation in the scene? And I said, Ryuzo wants a burger. And then that became a thing. And so people started doing art, amazing art of Ryuzo chasing after burgers. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian. So I haven't eaten meat in a long time. So now I do miss... if I was to choose one, I'd say like In-N-Out. I haven't eaten meat in a while.
Question:
Have you been to that vegan burger place that's on? I think it's on Fairfax, maybe.
I have not.
Have you had an Impossible Burger?
It's pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple.
Have you tried an Impossible Burger?
Yes, I've had plenty of Impossible and Beyond. And, yeah, they're fantastic. Like I love the. And I don't remember what red meat tastes like, but I love having those because it kind of reminds me of it. And I miss eating meat. I just stopped eating meat though. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, I was gonna. Okay, it seems like kind of a wonderful segue because I know that you've talked with me about how you love animals and how you are really, really about sort of in your philanthropic life, looking at animal welfare and the care of animals and stuff like that. So is that partly to how long have you been did that play into the vegetarianism or are they
yes it kind of goes hand in hand. It was over a couple years. It was I stopped eating. It was first like beef and pork, then chicken, and it's just my thing. Like my wife and is like not having it. I'm eating meat, and I'm like, that's fair. It's my personal journey. I just I help out with animal shelters. It's been a while since my daughter because I've been busy, but taking specifically obvious in America, dogs, cats, and stuff like that. But I think one of those guys who's gonna be like, no, like vegan train and like people who eat meat are terrible. It's not that. I think a lot of this is not just about awareness of animal ethics towards animals, but also about sustainability and those kinds of things, which is why I choose unlimited. So that I don't know if that answered the question.
No, I think that's actually that covers pretty much all of it. I mean, I feel like since quarantine, it's been a bit more like, oh right, well, let's take an examination about what we're consuming. But like I feel like especially with the news of the world and the dumpster fire that's been 2020, it's sort of like, can I do anything to help? If I don't have this burger, will this help? Okay, sure, maybe I'll feel like I'm doing something. I'll have a salad.
It sounds silly, but it's just little things, and it's I don't think I ever want to impose my beliefs, but clearly I don't. My wife's like, yeah, no, but it's like so much of it is like the little things, right? And it was a gradual process for me. Mm-hmm. It was like I watched I read too much and I watched too many slaughterhouse videos, and I was like, nope, not doing this anymore. So it was that's why I cut out. But then it was easier. I was easier to consume the seafood, And my friend would be like, so the less cute animals. And I'm like, Jay. And so I then I was like, I cut out the seafood after that.
The cute ones don't deserve your
Yeah, I'm at the
compassion.
no beef, no pork stage. And ironically, yeah, I'm wearing the please don't eat me, I love you. I used to wear it ironically, now I wear it kind of literally.
Literally, yeah.
I don't really eat pork anymore. Anyway.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the last question.
Were those all the audience questions? Is that what we?
That was all the audience.
Yeah, that about wraps it up for what I was able to make notes of and whatnot. Sorry for anybody whose question didn't get asked, but for the sake of time, we had to kind of cut it.
I mean, we have also. I felt like we were like, oh, we're just gonna do an hour, and now it's like, it's almost.
Yeah, we should. Leonard, was there any last thing you wanted to add, story or something you're fighting for, or anything?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
It's up to you.
I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys for the sequel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wink,
or
Billy.
No,
prequel.
No. I joking aside. I loved working with Dice, and even though I didn't get to, and Patrick, and even though I didn't get to work with the rest of the cast, and I only met Earl once, along with a couple other castmates. Just nice to be part of such an amazing group of people that are, amazing human beings, aside from being amazing artists. We've talked about these kinds of opportunities don't come around often for Asian Americans. So for us to be part of something that is so special while we're doing it, and then for it to be embraced by, the public and by gamers is, I'm grateful for it. So, thank you to everybody out there, and thank you guys, for, this amazing journey and going on it with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on our little saga with us.
Yeah, and we say this all the time. If we weren't in, shutdown in quarantine or whatever, we would definitely be having cast parties and launch parties.
For all of you.
But it will be delayed, but it will happen.
It will happen.
So, looking forward to that.
Alrighty, well, thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Chat. Let's put up some emotes and give Leo a bunch of thanks because we love the fact that he's here. Leo's, I know, been occasionally showing up in the Discord as well, so he'll. It's up to, I don't know if he wants to keep hanging around, but you're more than welcome to stop by whenever. And yeah, if y'all want to possibly join the Discord, there's a way to do that in case you haven't seen. Thanks everyone for hanging out.
Yeah, and if y'all want to stop by at any of our channels, I stream on Sunday, Wednesday, Friday night is a Japanese stream. Earl, you are?
We did this Tuesday, Thursday, Friday thing. We're probably going to stick with it. But we usually, Dice and I will fill up most days of the week. And we've got our exciting brand new YouTube channel where we'll have a compilation of all of our videos. And we'll probably get a VOD of this whole Q&A cast hangout session over there as well. So make sure to check out the DandE Saga on YouTube. Leo, is there anything you'd like to shout out? Give any
I think
can we throw Leonard's social media handles at least in the chat so people can follow him?
Yeah, thanks Sucker Punch.
Yeah. Oh yes. And as always, thank you, Sucker Punch.
Oh, yeah.
Without you, we wouldn't be here, literally, in so many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alrighty. I guess this is it. I just don't want to leave. I'm like, I know you got things to do, but we're hanging out and it's so much fun.
Thank you guys so much.
Alrighty, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Big thanks to Leonard one more time. I wish we could have a crowd that actually had applause.
Thank you, guys.
Just two people. Marnelli, are you clapping? Just kidding.
Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to hang out with everybody in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
For real. Alrighty, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.